Billionaire opens his mansion door and catches a 6-year-old poor girl, saving his paralyzed baby from danger. What happens next is shocking. Before we unfold this journey, press like and share where you're from and your favorite life lesson. The rain hammered against the marble steps of the Hampton estate as billionaire Marcus Wellington fumbled with his keys, exhausted from another 18-hour workday. At 42, he had built an empire, but lost everything that mattered. His wife Sarah had left 3 years ago, taking their dreams, but leaving behind their 2-year-old son Tommy, born with spina bifida. Thunder crashed as Marcus pushed open the massive oak door. The mansion felt colder than the storm outside. Mrs. Peterson, Tommy's night nurse, should have been here, but her car wasn't in the driveway. Panic seized his chest. "Tommy?" His voice echoed through the empty foyer. A child's cry pierced the silence, not from the nursery upstairs, but from the direction of the pool deck. Marcus's blood turned to ice. Tommy couldn't walk properly, but lately he'd been determined to explore using his tiny leg braces and walker. Racing through the living room, Marcus's heart stopped. Through the floor-to-ceiling windows, he saw his son's small figure at the pool's edge, his walker teetering dangerously close to the water. Tommy was reaching for something that had fallen in, his favorite stuffed elephant, but what Marcus saw next defied belief. A tiny girl, no more than 6 years old, with matted brown hair and clothes that hung like rags, was already in the pool. She was struggling against the current created by the automatic pool cleaner, her small arms fighting to reach Tommy's toy while keeping herself afloat. "No!" Marcus burst through the patio doors. The girl looked up, startled, and in that moment of distraction, she went under. Tommy, seeing the danger, tried to lean further over the pool edge with his walker. The wheels slipped on the wet concrete. Time slowed. Marcus watched his disabled son falling toward the water as the unknown girl disappeared beneath the surface. His legs moved without conscious thought, but he was still 20 feet away. Then impossibly the girl surfaced like a determined little mermaid. Instead of swimming to safety, she pushed herself toward Tommy's falling form with strength that shouldn't exist in someone so small. Her thin arms caught the 2-year-old just as he hit the water, and she managed to keep his head above surface while her own went under again. Marcus dove in, fully clothed, his expensive suit forgotten. When he pulled them both from the pool, the girl was unconscious, her lips blue from cold and exhaustion. Tommy was crying but breathing, clutching his rescued elephant. As Marcus performed CPR on the tiny stranger, questions flooded his mind. Who was she? How did she get into his heavily secured property? Why had she risked her life for a child she didn't know? The girl's eyes fluttered open, and she immediately tried to sit up, coughing up pool water. Her first words weren't about herself. Is the baby okay?" Marcus stared at this 6-year-old who had nearly died saving his son. Her clothes were threadbare, her feet bare and dirty, but her eyes held a wisdom and compassion that made his throat tight. "He's safe because of you," Marcus whispered. "What's your name, sweetheart?" "Luna," she said, her voice barely audible. "I'm sorry I broke into your house. I was looking for medicine for my brothers. They're really sick, and I heard rich people have lots of medicine." The innocence of her confession hit Marcus like a physical blow. This child had broken into his mansion not to steal valuables, but to find medicine for sick siblings. And instead of running when she found Tommy in danger, she'd risked everything to save him. "Where are your parents, Luna?" Her face crumpled. "Mama disappeared 2 months ago. It's just me and the twins now. They're only 3, and they have fevers that won't break. I've been taking care of them, but I don't know how to make them better." Marcus felt something shift inside his chest, a warmth he hadn't experienced since Sarah left. This little girl had shown more courage and selflessness in 10 minutes than most adults displayed in a lifetime. "Luna," he said gently, wrapping his suit jacket around her shivering form. "How would you like to bring your brothers here? I have the best doctors in the city and plenty of medicine." Her eyes widened with desperate hope. But then doubt crept in. "People like you don't help people like me. Why would you want to?" Marcus looked at his son, who was reaching for Luna with chubby arms, and then at this brave little girl who had saved Tommy's life without a second thought. "Because," he said, his voice thick with emotion, "sometimes angels come in the most unexpected forms." But as Luna smiled for the first time, Marcus noticed her wince and clutch her side. Blood was seeping through her thin shirt. She'd been injured in the rescue but hadn't said a word. How badly hurt was she? And what other secrets was this remarkable child hiding? Dr. Elizabeth Chen arrived at the Wellington mansion within 20 minutes of Marcus's frantic call. As the family's personal physician for over a decade, she'd never seen the usually composed billionaire so shaken. "She's been hiding the injury," Marcus explained as they climbed the stairs to the guest room where Luna was sleeping fitfully. She was so worried about her brothers, she didn't want to delay getting them help. Dr. Chen examined the 6-year-old with gentle hands. The cut along Luna's ribs was deep but clean, probably from the pool's edge during the rescue. But what concerned the doctor more were the signs of prolonged malnutrition and the defensive way Luna flinched even in sleep. "Marcus," Dr. Chen said quietly, "this child has been caring for those twins alone for weeks, maybe months. Look at her hands. They're raw from scrubbing floors. She's been working to buy food and medicine." In the nursery next door, Tommy had refused to sleep until he could see Luna. The usually fretful toddler seemed calmer knowing his rescuer was nearby, as if he understood she was special. "Where did you say her brothers are?" "Doctor," Chen asked as she finished bandaging Luna's wound. "An abandoned apartment building on 5th Street. She was terrified to tell me at first, thought I'd call the authorities." Marcus ran his hands through his wet hair. "Elizabeth, I can't just send her back there, after what she did for Tommy." "You're thinking of taking in 3 children? Doctor?" Chen's eyebrows rose. "Marcus, you work 18 hours a day. Tommy already requires specialized care. I can hire more help, the best nannies, tutors, whatever they need." His voice grew firm. "That little girl nearly died saving my son. If she hadn't been there." He couldn't finish the thought. Luna stirred on the bed and both adults froze. Her fever-bright eyes opened, immediately scanning for danger before focusing on Marcus. "My brothers," she whispered urgently, trying to sit up despite her bandages. "I have to get back to them. They don't know where I am. Danny gets scared when it's dark, and Jake hasn't eaten since yesterday morning." "Luna, listen to me." Marcus knelt beside the bed. "I'm going to send Dr. Chen and some paramedics to get your brothers right now. They'll bring them here where it's warm and safe, and Dr. Chen will make them feel better." Tears spilled down Luna's cheeks. "You promise you won't separate us?" "Foster homes always split up siblings. I've seen it happen to other kids in our building." The raw fear in her voice broke something inside Marcus. How many adults had failed this child? How had she ended up responsible for 2 3-year-olds at just 6 years old? "I promise," he said solemnly, "you 3 will stay together. This is your home now, if you want it." Dr. Chen squeezed Marcus's shoulder. She'd watched this man become increasingly isolated since his divorce, throwing himself into work to avoid the pain of his broken family. Maybe these children could heal them all. 2 hours later, the paramedics returned with Jake and Danny Martinez, Luna's 3-year-old twin brothers. The boys were severely dehydrated and running dangerous fevers, but their eyes lit up when they saw their sister. "Luna!" Danny, the smaller twin, launched himself at the bed despite his weakness. "We thought you were gone forever like Mama." Jake, slightly taller but equally frail, hung back shyly until Luna extended her arms. "I told you I'd always come back," she whispered, holding both boys close. "I promised. Remember?" Dr. Chen worked quickly, starting IV fluids and administering antibiotics. The twins had pneumonia. Without immediate medical intervention, they might not have survived another week. Marcus watched from the doorway, remembering his own childhood in foster care before his adoption at age 10. He knew the desperate bond these siblings shared, the way Luna had aged beyond her years to protect the boys she clearly loved more than life itself. "Mr. Marcus," Luna called softly, "are you really going to let us stay, even when we're not sick anymore?" Before he could answer, Tommy appeared in his walker, having somehow made it down the hallway from his room. The determined 2-year-old had brought his favorite blanket, the one his mother had made before she left. With surprising gentleness, Tommy offered the blanket to Jake, who was shivering despite his fever. The gesture was simple, but it represented everything Marcus hoped this new family could become. "Luna," Marcus said, his voice steady with conviction. "You saved my son's life. Now let us save yours." But as the children finally settled into peaceful sleep, Dr. Chen pulled Marcus aside with concerning news. Luna's medical exam had revealed old injuries, healed fractures and scars that suggested a history of abuse. Where was their mother, and what had these children endured before finding their way to his door? 3 weeks had transformed the Wellington mansion from a lonely mausoleum into a home filled with children's laughter. Luna had recovered from her injuries, but her protective instincts remained sharp. She still woke every few hours to check on the twins, a habit that worried Marcus deeply. "She's been their mother for months," Dr. Chen explained during her weekly visit. "It'll take time for her to trust that they're truly safe." The twins, Jake and Danny, had flourished under proper medical care. Their pneumonia was gone, their faces had filled out, and they were beginning to act like normal 3-year-olds, getting into everything and testing every boundary Luna had carefully taught them to respect. Tommy, meanwhile, had made remarkable progress. Having playmates seemed to motivate him in ways his physical therapists never could. He was more determined than ever to improve his mobility, especially when Luna included him in games despite his limitations. Marcus had hired Sarah Mitchell, a warm-hearted nanny in her 50s, but Luna still struggled to let go of her caretaking responsibilities. This morning was no different. "Luna, sweetheart," Sarah said gently as the 6-year-old tried to help dress the twins. "I can handle this. Why don't you go have breakfast with Tommy?" "But Danny doesn't like his shirt if the seams touch his neck wrong," Luna protested, "and Jake needs his socks pulled up exactly to his ankles, or he'll cry all morning." Marcus, watching from the doorway, felt his heart clench. Luna knew every quirk, every fear, every comfort these boys needed. She'd been studying them with the intensity of a mother for months. In the breakfast room, a new challenge was emerging. Marcus's assistant, Jennifer, was attempting to discuss educational options with him while the children ate. "The Wellington Academy has an excellent program for special needs children like Tommy," Jennifer was saying. "And there are several top-tier kindergartens that would know." Luna's voice was quiet but firm. She'd been silently feeding Jake, who had always been a picky eater, but now her attention was fixed on the adults. "Excuse me?" Jennifer looked confused. "We're not splitting up," Luna said, her small chin jutting out with determination. "Danny can't sleep without Jake, and Jake won't eat if I'm not there. And Tommy needs us. We're his friends. You can't put us in different schools." Marcus set down his coffee cup. In 3 weeks, he'd watched Luna's fierce protectiveness, but this was the first time she'd directly challenged adult authority in front of him. "Luna," Marcus said carefully, "no one's trying to separate you, but different schools have different programs." "Adults always say that," Luna interrupted, her voice rising with panic. "They said it when they took away Maria from apartment 3B. They promised her brother could visit, but he never saw her again. They said it when—" Her words were cut off by the sound of breaking glass. Danny had knocked over his juice cup in excitement at seeing a bird outside the window, and the crash sent Jake into immediate tears of terror. Luna was out of her chair instantly, scooping up Jake while simultaneously soothing Danny and trying to clean the spill. Her movements were practiced, efficient, the actions of someone who'd handled countless crises alone. It's okay, she murmured to both boys. Just an accident. No one's angry. See? Mr. Marcus isn't angry. Marcus watched this tiny girl manage the situation with more skill than many adults he knew. But the fear in her voice when she talked about separation haunted him. "Jennifer," Marcus said quietly, "could you give us a moment?" After his assistant left, Marcus knelt beside Luna, who was still comforting the twins. "Luna, look at me." He waited until her anxious eyes met his. "I need you to understand something. You and Jake and Danny are not going anywhere. You're family now, but part of taking care of family means making sure everyone gets what they need to grow and learn." "But what if the schools don't want kids like us?" Luna whispered. "What if they think we're too much trouble?" The question revealed more than Luna probably intended. Marcus realized this child had been rejected so many times that she expected it everywhere. "Then we'll find schools that do want you," Marcus said firmly. "Or we'll hire the best tutors in the city. Or we'll build our own school right here in the mansion. Whatever it takes." For the first time since she'd arrived, Luna's rigid posture relaxed slightly. But then Tommy wheeled himself over in his walker, determined to be part of the conversation. "Luna stay?" Tommy asked with 2-year-old directness. "Jake and Danny stay too?" "Yes, buddy," Marcus assured his son. "They're staying." But even as the children settled back into their breakfast routine, Marcus couldn't shake the feeling that Luna was still hiding something important. Her fear went deeper than normal childhood anxiety about change. What had happened to these children's mother? And why did Luna sometimes wake up screaming a name, a woman's name that wasn't their mother's? That afternoon, while the children napped, Marcus made a decision that would change everything. It was time to hire a private investigator to find out the truth about the Martinez children's past. But as he reached for his phone, he wondered if he was prepared for what they might discover. The private investigator's report arrived on a Tuesday morning while the children were having their first formal tutoring session. Marcus retreated to his study, hands trembling as he opened the thick envelope. The truth was worse than he'd imagined. Luna Martinez, age 6, and her twin brothers Jake and Danny, age 3, had been living with their mother Carmen in a series of increasingly desperate situations. Carmen, only 22 herself, had struggled with addiction and an abusive boyfriend named Rick Torino, a man with an extensive criminal record. The photographs made Marcus's stomach turn. Police reports documented multiple domestic violence calls, medical records showed Carmen's repeated hospitalizations, and social services had opened 3 separate investigations into the children's welfare. But the most devastating revelation was recent. Carmen Martinez had been found dead in a warehouse district 3 weeks ago, the same night Luna had broken into his mansion. She'd been murdered, and Rick Torino was the prime suspect, though he'd disappeared without a trace. Luna didn't just think her mother had abandoned them. She was an orphan, and she had no idea. Marcus sank into his leather chair, the weight of this knowledge crushing. That brave little girl had been caring for her brothers while carrying the secret hope that their mother would return. Every day she'd been waiting for a reunion that would never come. A soft knock interrupted his thoughts. Luna stood in the doorway, her hair neatly braided by Sarah, wearing one of the new dresses Marcus had bought for her. She looked almost like a normal 6-year-old, except for the worry lines around her eyes that no child should have. "Mr. Marcus, Sarah said you wanted to see me?" Marcus quickly closed the file, his heart racing. He wasn't ready for this conversation, but Luna's expectant face made him realize he had no choice but to address her concerns about their living situation. "Come sit with me, sweetheart." He patted the chair beside his desk. Luna climbed up, her legs swinging freely. "Are you going to send us away?" she asked with characteristic directness. "I saw the man with the briefcase yesterday, and grown-ups always have meetings about us before they send us somewhere else." "Luna," Marcus began carefully, "what would you say if I told you that you and Jake and Danny never had to leave here again, that this could be your permanent home?" Her eyes widened, but instead of joy, he saw fear. "What about Mama?" she whispered. "When she comes back, how will she find us if we're not in our old neighborhood? I left notes in all our old places, telling her where we went, but what if she doesn't see them?" Marcus felt his throat close. This innocent child was still waiting, still hoping, still planning for a mother who would never return. How could he destroy that hope? But how could he let her keep waiting for a miracle that would never come? Before he could answer, chaos erupted from the playroom. Danny's terrified screaming echoed through the mansion, followed by Jake's panicked crying. Luna leaped from her chair and raced toward the sound, Marcus close behind. They found the twins, huddled together in the corner, while Tommy sat confused in his walker nearby. Sarah was trying to approach the boys, but they shrank away from her. "What happened?" Marcus asked. "I don't know," Sarah said helplessly. "Danny was playing with the toy phone, pretending to call someone. Then he just started screaming." Luna knelt beside her brothers, her voice calm despite their hysteria. "Danny, it's okay. Tell Luna what scared you." "The bad man," Danny sobbed. "I was pretending to call Mama, and I remembered the bad man answered her phone. He said mean things about you, Luna. He said he was gonna find you and make you sorry." The color drained from Luna's face. Marcus watched her struggle to maintain composure as her worst fear materialized. Somehow, Rick Torino had contacted their mother's phone before Carmen's death, and Danny had overheard. "Danny?" Luna said with forced calm. "That was just a bad dream. The bad man can't find us here. Mr. Marcus's house is safe." But Marcus could see Luna didn't believe her own words. Her hands shook as she held the twins, and her eyes kept darting to the windows as if expecting danger to appear at any moment. That night, after the children were finally asleep, Marcus made a decision that would protect his new family but potentially destroy Luna's trust forever. He called his head of security and ordered complete background checks on anyone who came near the property. Then he called the police detective handling Carmen's case. "Detective Rodriguez, this is Marcus Wellington. I have information about the Martinez children you've been looking for." The conversation that followed confirmed Marcus's worst fears. Rick Torino was not only suspected of murdering Carmen, he'd been asking around the neighborhood about the children's whereabouts. He knew Luna had escaped with her brothers, and he was actively hunting for them. As Marcus hung up the phone, he realized that saving these children from poverty had been the easy part. Now he had to save them from a killer who wouldn't stop until he found them. But first, he had to find the courage to tell Luna that her mother was never coming home. Marcus didn't sleep that night. He paced his study until dawn, rehearsing words that would shatter a 6-year-old's world while somehow keeping her sense of safety intact. The police had agreed to increase patrols around the property, but Detective Rodriguez had been brutally honest. Rick Torino was dangerous, desperate, and had nothing left to lose. At breakfast, Luna noticed everything. The way Marcus's hands trembled slightly with his coffee, the unfamiliar cars parked at the estate's gates, unmarked police vehicles that Marcus hoped looked like normal security, the tension radiating from every adult in the house. "Something's wrong," Luna announced, setting down her untouched cereal. "Is it about us? Are we in trouble?" Jake and Danny continued eating, blissfully unaware, while Tommy watched Luna with the intuitive understanding that often exists between children who've experienced trauma. "Luna," Marcus began, "there are some things we need to talk about. But first, I need you to know that you and your brothers are safe here. No matter what I tell you, that won't change." Her dark eyes studied his face with uncomfortable intensity. "It's about Mama, isn't it?" Marcus felt his carefully planned speech dissolve. "Yes, sweetheart, it is. She's not coming back." Luna's words were a statement, not a question, delivered with devastating calm. "Luna, I know." Her voice was barely a whisper. "I've known for a while. Mama wouldn't leave us this long unless something bad happened to her." The kitchen fell silent, except for the twins' innocent chatter and the soft whir of Tommy's walker as he moved closer to Luna's chair. "How long have you known?" Marcus asked gently. "Since the night I came here." Luna's composure cracked slightly. "The police came to our building that morning. They were asking about Mama, showing her picture. Mrs. Sanchez from downstairs, she looked at me funny and whispered to her daughter. I heard the word, dead." Marcus felt sick. This child had been carrying the knowledge of her mother's death alone, while caring for her brothers and adjusting to a new life. The strength required for that seemed impossible in someone so small. "Why didn't you say anything?" "Because Jake and Danny aren't ready." Luna wiped her eyes with the back of her hand. "They still think Mama's coming back. If I tell them the truth, Danny will stop eating again like he did when she was gone for 3 days, and Jake will stop talking. I can't let them break." Marcus knelt beside Luna's chair, his heart breaking for this little girl who'd been forced to become an adult before she'd finished being a child. "Luna, you don't have to carry this alone anymore. That's what families do. They help each other with the hard things." "But what if telling them makes it worse?" Luna's voice rose with panic. "What if they blame me? I was supposed to keep Mama safe too, and I failed." "Oh, sweetheart, no." Marcus pulled Luna into his arms as she finally let herself cry. "What happened to your mama wasn't your fault. You were just a little girl trying to take care of everyone, and you did an amazing job." Tommy wheeled himself over and patted Luna's leg with clumsy toddler comfort. Even Jake and Danny seemed to sense their sister's distress, abandoning their breakfast to cluster around her. But their moment of healing was shattered by Sarah's urgent voice from the foyer. "Mr. Wellington, there's a man at the gate demanding to see the children. He says he's their relative, but security won't let him through." Luna's head snapped up, terror flooding her features. "What does he look like? Tall, dark hair, tattoos on his arms." "It's him." Luna's whisper was full of horror. "It's Rick. He found us." Through the kitchen window, Marcus could see a figure arguing with the security guards at the estate's entrance. Even from a distance, the man's aggressive posture was unmistakable. "Take the children upstairs," Marcus ordered Sarah. "Lock the playroom door and don't come out until I say it's safe." But Luna was already moving, gathering Jake and Danny with practiced efficiency. "Come on, boys, we're going to play the quiet game upstairs." "Remember how we practiced?" The twins, recognizing the tone that meant danger, obeyed without question. But as Luna ushered them toward the stairs, she turned back to Marcus, with eyes far too old for her face. "He won't give up," she said quietly. "Rick doesn't give up, and he knows I saw what he did to Mama that night. He'll keep coming until he finds us." Marcus watched his brave little girl disappear up the stairs, her small shoulders bearing a burden no child should carry. Through the window, Rick Torino continued his increasingly violent demands for the children. Detective Rodriguez had been wrong about one thing. Rick Torino wasn't just dangerous and desperate. He was here. He knew exactly where the children were. And Marcus realized with growing horror that the man who'd murdered their mother wouldn't hesitate to hurt them too. As Marcus reached for his phone to call for backup, he wondered if his mansion's walls were strong enough to protect the family that had brought light back into his life. The confrontation lasted 3 hours. Rick Torino, growing more agitated with each passing minute, had attracted the attention of news crews who'd caught wind of the story. Mysterious children living with reclusive billionaire Marcus Wellington. The estate's gates became ground zero for a media circus that threatened to expose Luna and her brothers to exactly the kind of attention that put them in danger. Marcus watched from his study window as Detective Rodriguez attempted to negotiate with Rick while keeping reporters at a safe distance. The man claiming to be the children's uncle was clearly under the influence of something, his movements erratic, his voice loud enough to carry across the lawn. "I want those kids," Rick shouted. "They belong with family, not some rich bastard who's probably doing God knows what to them." Upstairs, Luna had gathered Jake, Danny and Tommy in the specially reinforced playroom Marcus had hastily converted into a safe room. But even through the soundproof walls, the children could sense the tension in the house. "Why can't we go outside today?" Danny asked, pressing toy cars along the carpet with unusual intensity. "The grown-ups are having important talks," Luna replied, her voice steady, despite the fear Marcus could see in her eyes through the security monitor. "We have to stay inside where it's safe." Jake, always the more sensitive twin, had stopped playing altogether. "Is the bad man here, the one from my dreams?" Luna's composure wavered for just a moment. "There are no bad men here, Jakey. Mr. Marcus has lots of people to keep us safe." But Marcus could see Luna's hands shaking as she helped Tommy with a puzzle. This 6-year-old was reliving her worst nightmare while trying to protect 3 younger children from the same terror. A knock at the study door interrupted his surveillance. Detective Rodriguez entered, his face grim. "Mr. Wellington, we have a problem. Rick Torino's blood test came back. He's high on methamphetamines, which makes him unpredictable and dangerous. But legally, he has a case for custody. He's claiming to be Carmen Martinez's brother, and without definitive proof otherwise, social services might be forced to investigate his claim." "He's not their uncle," Marcus said firmly. "Luna's told me about their family. There are no relatives. Carmen Martinez had a sealed juvenile record. It's possible she had siblings she lost contact with, without her alive to confirm or deny Torino's claims." Rodriguez spread his hands helplessly. Marcus felt the walls closing in. "What are you telling me?" "I'm telling you that even if we arrest him today, which we will, based on the outstanding warrant for Carmen's murder, his claims about the children could trigger a social services review. They might remove Luna and the twins from your custody while they investigate." The thought of these children being dragged back into the system, possibly separated, made Marcus's vision blur with rage. "Over my dead body. Mr. Wellington, I understand your feelings, but—" "No, you don't understand." Marcus turned from the window, his voice deadly quiet. "That little girl saved my son's life. Those children have been through hell, and they're finally safe and happy and healing. I will not let some drug-addled killer destroy their chance at a normal life." Rodriguez studied Marcus's face and seemed to recognize something there. "What are you thinking?" "I'm thinking it's time to make this legal and permanent. How quickly can adoption proceedings move when money's no object? Weeks, maybe months, if everything goes perfectly. But Mr. Wellington, there's something else you need to know." Rodriguez pulled out his phone, showing Marcus a video from the news crew outside. "This story is about to go national. The angle about a billionaire taking in orphaned children is exactly the kind of feel-good story networks love. But media attention will make it harder to hide the children if Torino makes bail." Through the playroom monitor, Marcus watched Luna singing softly to comfort Danny, who'd started crying. Tommy had wheeled himself closer to offer his favorite stuffed animal. Jake sat pressed against his sister's side, sucking his thumb, a habit that had returned under stress. These children had found peace in his home. They were thriving, learning to trust again, becoming a real family with Tommy. The thought of losing them was unbearable, but the thought of them being hurt was worse. Marcus made a decision that would change everything. "Detective, how long until you arrest Torino?" "We're moving in now. But like I said, this won't end the custody challenge." "Then I need to make a few calls." Marcus was already reaching for his phone. "I know judges, legislators, people who can expedite proceedings when necessary, and I know how to make stories disappear from the news cycle." As sirens wailed outside and Rick Torino was finally led away in handcuffs, Marcus watched Luna's shoulders relax slightly on the monitor. She didn't know the legal battle was just beginning. She didn't know that her face might be broadcast across the country as part of a human interest story. All she knew was that the immediate danger had passed, and she could focus on comforting her little brothers and Tommy. But Marcus knew something Luna didn't. Rick Torino's arrest was just the beginning. The real fight for this family was about to begin, and Marcus Wellington had never lost a fight that mattered to him. The question was whether love and money would be enough to overcome a system designed to separate children from unconventional families. As the sun set over the Wellington estate, Marcus realized that saving Luna and her brothers might require him to risk everything he'd built. But looking at the 4 children who'd brought joy back into his empty mansion, he knew there was no choice at all. The war for his family was about to begin. 2 weeks after Rick Torino's arrest, Marcus thought the worst was behind them. The children had settled into a routine. Luna attending kindergarten with Tommy in the mansion's newly converted classroom, while Jake and Danny thrived in their preschool program with specialized tutors. But on a Tuesday morning that started like any other, everything changed. Social worker Patricia Hendricks arrived unannounced, her clipboard and stern expression immediately sending Luna into protective mode. The 6-year-old positioned herself between the twins and the strange woman, her small body rigid with familiar fear. "Mr. Wellington," Patricia began, her voice professionally cold, "I'm here regarding the Martinez children. We've received concerning reports about the circumstances of their placement in your home." Marcus felt his blood pressure spike. "What kind of reports?" 9 anonymous tips suggesting that these children weren't properly processed through the system, that you may have circumvented legal procedures." Patricia's eyes swept the luxurious living room disapprovingly. "There are also questions about your motivations for taking in 3 traumatized children when you already have a special needs son." Luna stepped forward, her voice trembling but determined. "We want to stay here. This is our home now." Patricia barely glanced at her. "Sweetie, adults are talking. Why don't you go play?" The dismissive tone made Marcus's jaw clench, but Luna's response surprised everyone in the room. "No." Her small chin jutted out defiantly. "These are questions about my brothers. I take care of them. I decide what's best for them." "Luna," Marcus warned gently, not wanting her defiance to hurt their case. But Luna was done being silent. "Lady, do you know what it's like to watch your baby brothers cry from hunger while you dig through garbage cans, looking for food? Do you know what it's like to hide in a closet while bad men hurt your mama?" Patricia's clinical facade cracked slightly. "That's exactly why these children need professional therapeutic placement. Not a wealthy man with no experience in—" "He saved us!" Luna's voice cracked with emotion. "Mister, Marcus gives us medicine when we're sick and food when we're hungry, and he reads us stories, and he doesn't hit us ever. His house is safe, and Tommy is our friend, and we're a family." Tommy, as if summoned by his name, wheeled himself into the room in his walker. At 2 years old, his vocabulary was limited, but his emotional intelligence was remarkable. He went straight to Luna and took her hand. "Luna sad?" he asked, then turned to Patricia with surprising directness. "You make Luna sad. Go away." Patricia made notes on her clipboard. "I can see these children have formed inappropriate attachments. Mr. Wellington, I'm recommending immediate temporary removal pending a full investigation. The words hit Marcus like a physical blow. You can't be serious. I'm very serious. These children will be placed in emergency foster care while we— No! Luna's scream echoed through the mansion. Jake and Danny came running from the playroom, alarmed by their sister's distress. We won't go. Luna grabbed both twins, holding them fiercely. You can't make us. We didn't do anything wrong. Jake began crying, and Danny quickly joined him, their sobs heartbreaking. Tommy, overwhelmed by the chaos, started crying too, reaching for Luna, who was trying to comfort all three boys while backing toward the stairs. Marcus watched his family disintegrate before his eyes and made a decision that would change everything. Ms. Hendricks, he said quietly, I think you should leave. Now. Mr. Wellington, I have legal authority. You have allegations from anonymous sources and a clipboard. I have 4 children who are happy, healthy, and loved. My lawyers will be in touch. Marcus's voice carried deadly calm. Security will escort you out. Bune. As Patricia Hendricks was removed from the premises, Luna collapsed onto the floor, still holding her brothers. The fight had drained from her small body, replaced by exhaustion and terror. They're going to take us away, aren't they? She whispered. Marcus knelt beside his children, because that's what they were, legal papers or not. Luna, look at me. Do you trust me? Her dark eyes, wet with tears, met his. Yes. Then trust me when I say this. No one is taking you anywhere. We're family, and families fight for each other. But even as Marcus made that promise, he knew the battle ahead would test every resource he had. Patricia Hendricks represented a system designed to protect children, but sometimes that same system became the greatest threat to their happiness. That night, as he tucked 4 frightened children into beds in the same room, none wanted to sleep alone. Marcus began making calls that would either save his family or destroy his reputation forever. The gloves were coming off. Marcus's war room had once been his formal dining room. Now it housed 3 lawyers, a private investigator, a public relations specialist, and enough legal documents to paper the mansion. For 72 hours straight, Marcus had barely slept, orchestrating a defense that would protect his children while building an airtight adoption case. The good news, said Eleanor Blackwood, his top family attorney, is that Rick Torino confessed to Carmen Martinez's murder in exchange for a plea deal. That eliminates any custody claims from him. And the bad news, Marcus asked, though he could guess. Social Services is building a case that you're an unfit guardian. They're claiming you used your wealth to circumvent proper channels, that you haven't been psychologically evaluated, and that taking on 3 traumatized children plus your special needs son is beyond your capacity. Through the window, Marcus watched Luna teaching Tommy and the twins how to play a gentle version of tag that accommodated Tommy's walker. She'd adapted every game to include him, showing a natural understanding of inclusion that amazed the physical therapists. What do we need to prove them wrong? Character witnesses, psychological evaluations, home studies, and time. Eleanor shuffled through papers. The problem is, they're not wrong about you circumventing channels. You did take these children in without going through proper procedures. To save their lives. I know. And that's our defense. But Marcus, there's something else. Eleanor's expression grew troubled. The anonymous tip that started this investigation. It came from someone with detailed knowledge of the children's background. Someone who knew about Carmen's death before it was public knowledge. Marcus felt ice in his veins. Are you saying— I'm saying Rick Torino wasn't working alone. Someone else knew about these children, and they're still out there. Before Marcus could respond, Sarah burst into the room, her face pale with panic. Mr. Wellington, Luna's missing. The world stopped. What do you mean, missing? She was playing with the other children in the garden 20 minutes ago. I went inside to get their snacks, and when I came back she was gone. The boys said she saw something that scared her and ran toward the woods. Marcus was moving before Sarah finished speaking, his security team mobilizing behind him. The estate's wooded area covered 50 acres, plenty of space for a frightened 6-year-old to get lost or hide. They found her 30 minutes later, huddled in the old gardener's shed at the far edge of the property. She was clutching a cell phone that Marcus didn't recognize, her face streaked with tears. "Luna, sweetheart, what happened?" Marcus knelt beside her, relief flooding through him. "I found Mama's phone," Luna whispered. "It was in my jacket pocket, the one I was wearing the night I came here. I forgot it was there until today when I felt it buzzing." Marcus's blood ran cold. "It was ringing?" Luna nodded miserably. "A man's voice. Not Rick, someone else. He knew my name, he knew about Jake and Danny. He said—" Her voice broke. "He said Mama owed him money, and now I have to pay instead. What did you tell him?" "Nothing. I hung up and ran. But Marcus, he knew things. He knew about Tommy, about you, about this house. Someone's been watching us." Marcus took the phone with hands that barely trembled. 20 years of high-stakes business negotiations had taught him to stay calm under pressure. But inside, his mind raced. Carmen Martinez had been involved with dangerous people, and her death hadn't settled all debts. "Luna, listen to me carefully. Listen to me. You did exactly the right thing running and hiding, but you should have come to me first. We're a team now, remember." "But what if he hurts Jake and Danny to get to me? What if he hurts you and Tommy?" Luna's fear was palpable. Maybe the social worker was right. Maybe we're too dangerous to be here. "No." Marcus's voice was firm. "You're not dangerous, and you're not going anywhere. But we need to be smarter about staying safe." As they walked back to the mansion, Marcus made mental calculations. More security, background checks on every staff member, possibly relocating the family temporarily. But first, he needed to know exactly what threats they were facing. The phone in his pocket buzzed with a text message. "The girl knows where Carmen hid my property. 72 hours to produce it, or I start with the pretty blonde boy." Marcus's vision went red. Someone was threatening Danny, sweet, innocent Danny, who still cried for his mama at night. That night, as he sat guard outside the children's room while they slept, Marcus realized this wasn't just about adoption anymore. Someone from Carmen's past had found them, and they wouldn't stop until they got what they wanted. But they'd made one crucial mistake. They'd threatened Marcus Wellington's family. And Marcus Wellington had never lost a war that mattered. The ransom demand was specific. A ledger that Carmen Martinez had supposedly hidden, containing information about drug distribution routes and financial records. The anonymous caller claimed Luna knew where it was, but when Marcus gently questioned the 6-year-old, she seemed genuinely confused. "Mama never talked to me about work stuff," Luna insisted as they sat in Marcus's study, the other children napping upstairs under heavy security. "She just said she had to do bad things to keep us fed, and that someday we'd go somewhere safe." Marcus studied Luna's face, looking for any sign she was holding back information. But her confusion seemed genuine. Whatever Carmen had hidden, she hadn't involved her 6-year-old daughter. "Think, Luna. Did your mama ever give you anything to keep safe? A book, papers, maybe something she said was important?" Luna shook her head, then suddenly froze. Wait, there was something. But it wasn't papers. What was it? A key, a little silver key on a chain. Luna's eyes widened with memory. She put it around my neck the night before the last time I saw her. She said if anything happened to her, I should keep it safe, but never tell anyone about it. Marcus felt his pulse quicken. "Where is the key now?" "In my old jacket, the one I was wearing when I came here." Luna looked worried. "I forgot about it because I haven't worn that jacket since you bought me new clothes." Within minutes, they'd retrieved Luna's tattered jacket from the donations bag Sarah had prepared. Sewn into the lining, just above the left pocket, was a small silver key attached to a thin chain. "Luna," Marcus said carefully, "this key opens something important enough that bad people are willing to hurt children to find it. Do you have any idea what it might unlock?" "Storage units," Luna said immediately. "Mama rented storage units when we had to move fast. She said they were the only safe place to keep things that mattered." Marcus felt pieces clicking into place. Carmen had hidden evidence, probably insurance against her dangerous associates, in a storage unit. And she'd given her daughter the key as a final protection. "Do you remember which storage company?" Luna closed her eyes, concentrating. "Blue boxes." The sign had blue boxes on it. "And it was near the bus station downtown because we walked there after taking the bus." Marcus's security chief, David Kim, had been listening from the doorway. "I know that place. Metro Storage on 5th Street. But, sir, if we're right about this, going there is exactly what they want us to do." "Then we don't go there," Marcus said grimly. "We make them come to us." The plan Marcus outlined was dangerous, but necessary. They would arrange to meet the unknown caller at a public location, the downtown library, where security cameras and crowds would provide protection. Marcus would carry a decoy key, while the real one remained hidden at the mansion. But Luna had other ideas. "I want to come with you," she announced. "Absolutely not." "Marcus, listen to me." Luna's voice carried a maturity that still broke his heart. "Whoever this is, they know I'm the one with the key. If I'm not there, they won't believe you have it. And if they don't believe you, they'll come here looking for me, and Jake and Danny and Tommy will be in danger." The logic was sound but terrifying. "Luna, you're 6 years old. I can't put you in that kind of danger." "I've been in danger my whole life," Luna replied quietly. "But now I have people who'll protect me. That makes me braver than I used to be." David Kim spoke up. "Sir, she's not wrong about the tactical advantage. If our goal is to end this threat permanently, having Luna present under heavy protection might be our best chance." Marcus looked at this remarkable little girl who'd already survived more trauma than most adults. Her courage was undeniable, but the thought of deliberately putting her in harm's way made him sick. There has to be another way. "There is," Luna said firmly. "We give them what they want, but we make sure the police get it too. Mama always said the stuff in storage was bad enough to put bad people in jail forever. If we're smart about this, we can end it." That night, as Marcus finalized plans with Detective Rodriguez and the FBI agents who joined the case, he marveled at Luna's strategic thinking. She was right. This confrontation was inevitable, and controlling the terms gave them the best chance of protecting all 4 children. But as he watched Luna sleep peacefully beside her brothers, Marcus couldn't shake the feeling that he was about to gamble everything on a 6-year-old's courage. The meeting was set for tomorrow at noon. In 18 hours, Marcus would discover whether his makeshift family would survive their deadliest test yet. The downtown library buzzed with its usual Tuesday afternoon activity. Students, elderly patrons, mothers with toddlers. Marcus had chosen the location carefully, public enough to discourage violence, but contained enough for his security team to control access points. Luna sat beside him at a corner table, her small hand clasped tightly in his. She wore a bright yellow dress, Marcus's idea, making her easily visible to the protective agents positioned throughout the building. Despite her brave words yesterday, her fingers trembled slightly. "Remember the plan," Marcus whispered. "Whatever happens, you stay beside me. If I tell you to run, I go to Officer Martinez by the children's section," Luna recited. "But Marcus, I won't leave you. You will if I tell you to. That's how families protect each other." At exactly noon, a woman approached their table. Marcus had expected another criminal associate of Rick Torino, But this woman wore an expensive business suit and carried herself with professional authority. "Mr. Wellington, I'm Janet Pierce, attorney for certain parties interested in recovering property belonging to Carmen Martinez." She sat down uninvited, her cold eyes focusing on Luna. "And you must be Luna. You've caused quite a lot of trouble, young lady." Luna pressed closer to Marcus, but didn't speak. "Ms. Pierce," Marcus said carefully, "I understand your clients believe Carmen Martinez left something in storage. We're prepared to cooperate, but only if this ends the threats against these children. That depends entirely on what's in storage unit 247. Janet smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "Carmen was supposed to deliver certain financial records to my clients before her untimely death. Instead, she hid them away like insurance. Very foolish." "What makes you think Luna knows where they are?" Janet's expression sharpened. "Because Carmen Martinez was many things, but she wasn't stupid. She knew her lifestyle put her in danger, so she gave the key to the one person she trusted most, her daughter." The woman reached into her purse, and Marcus tensed, but she only withdrew a tablet computer. The screen showed grainy surveillance footage of Carmen with Luna at the storage facility. This was taken 3 days before Carmen died. She visited the unit with Luna, explaining something to her very carefully. "My clients have been patient, but their patience is ending." Luna stared at the video of herself with her mother, her face crumpling with grief. "Mama said it was our secret place. She said the papers inside could keep us safe if anything happened to her. Smart woman. Too bad she forgot that some secrets are too dangerous to keep." Janet's voice turned threatening. "The key, please. And understand that if those records aren't in that storage unit, or if you've tampered with them, there will be consequences." Marcus felt Luna tense beside him. Something in Janet's tone had shifted. This wasn't just about business anymore. This was personal. "Who are you, really?" Luna asked suddenly. "You're not just a lawyer." Janet's professional mask slipped. "I'm someone whose life Carmen Martinez destroyed with her greed and stupidity. The records in that storage unit detail financial arrangements that, if revealed, would ruin several prominent people. Carmen thought she could use them as blackmail material." "So you had her killed," Marcus said quietly. "I had her silenced, but unfortunately she was too clever by half, hiding the evidence where only a 6-year-old could find it." Janet leaned forward menacingly. "Now, the key." Marcus reached into his pocket, but Luna stopped him with a small hand on his wrist. "What if I don't give it to you?" Luna asked, her voice steady despite her fear. "Then your baby brothers will have accidents. Children are so fragile, especially when they're only 3 years old." The threat against Jake and Danny made Marcus's vision go red, but Luna's reaction surprised everyone. Instead of terror, her face hardened with determination that looked eerily adult. "You know what I think?" Luna said clearly. "I think Mama was right about keeping those papers safe, because bad people like you should go to jail." Janet's hand moved toward her purse again, but suddenly the library filled with FBI agents. Detective Rodriguez appeared behind Janet, his hand on his weapon. "Janet Pierce, you're under arrest for conspiracy to commit murder, extortion, and threatening minors." As Janet was handcuffed, she turned to Luna with hatred in her eyes. "This isn't over, little girl. There are other people who want those records, and they won't be as civilized as I was." But Luna met her gaze without flinching. "Let them come. I have a family now, and families protect each other." Later, as they drove home through the afternoon sunlight, Marcus marveled at Luna's courage. At 6 years old, she'd faced down criminals and helped bring her mother's killers to justice. But Janet Pierce's final words haunted him. This threat was ended, but were there others? How many enemies had Carmen Martinez made in her desperate attempts to survive? That evening, as the 4 children played together in the mansion's safe rooms, Marcus made a decision that would change their lives forever. It was time to disappear, to take his family somewhere no one from their past could ever find them. But first, he had one more surprise for Luna, one that would ensure she never felt powerless again. The storage unit contained exactly what Janet Pierce had claimed: detailed financial records documenting money laundering operations, drug distribution networks, and corruption that reached into city government. Carmen Martinez had indeed been collecting insurance against the dangerous world she'd been forced to enter. But mixed in with the criminal evidence, Marcus found something unexpected: a handwritten letter addressed to Luna. "My precious daughter," it began. "If you're reading this, it means something has happened to me. I want you to know that everything I did, every terrible choice I made, was to keep you and your brothers safe and fed. You are the strongest person I know, Luna. You've been taking care of Jake and Danny better than most adults could, and I know you'll keep them safe no matter what happens." Marcus watched Luna read the letter in his study, tears streaming down her cheeks as she absorbed her mother's final words. "She knew," Luna whispered. "Mama knew she might not come back, and she was trying to protect us even then." The letter continued with specific instructions. If Carmen died, Luna should find a way to contact the FBI with the storage unit's contents. Carmen had hoped the evidence would be enough to put away the people who'd trapped her in their criminal world. "She wanted me to be brave," Luna said, looking up at Marcus. "She said I was the only one she trusted to make sure the bad people couldn't hurt other families like they hurt ours." Marcus knelt beside Luna's chair. "Your mama was right about how strong you are. And now, because of your courage, those bad people are going to jail for a very long time." But the victory felt incomplete. Janet Pierce and her associates were in custody, but the damage to Luna's innocence was permanent. This 6-year-old had seen too much, carried too much responsibility, and grown up far too fast. "Marcus," Luna said quietly, "I need to ask you something important." "Anything, sweetheart. Are you going to adopt us for real? Legal papers and everything?" Her dark eyes were hopeful but guarded. "Because I need to know that Jake and Danny are safe forever. And Tommy, too. He's part of our family now." Marcus felt his throat tighten. "Luna, I've been trying to adopt you since the day you arrived. The lawyers have been working on it, but legal processes take time." "How much time?" "Normally months, but given everything that's happened, the judge has agreed to expedite the case." Marcus smiled. "In fact, we have a hearing next week. If you want me to be your legal father, you'll need to tell the judge that yourself." Luna's face lit up with the first pure joy Marcus had seen from her in weeks. "Really? We get to stay forever?" "Forever, all 4 of you." But Luna's happiness was interrupted by a commotion from upstairs. Sarah's voice called down urgently, "Mr. Wellington, something's wrong with Tommy." They raced to the nursery to find Tommy having what appeared to be a seizure. His small body convulsed while Jake and Danny watched in terror from the doorway. "Call Dr. Chen immediately," Marcus ordered Sarah, while Luna moved instinctively to comfort the twins. "Is Tommy going to be okay?" Danny asked, his voice small with fear. "The doctors will help him," Luna assured both boys, though Marcus could see her own worry. "Remember when you and Jake were really sick and Dr. Chen made you better? She'll help Tommy too." But as they waited for the ambulance, Marcus realized how fragile their newfound happiness really was. Tommy's spina bifida meant constant medical vigilance. Luna and her brothers carried trauma that would take years to heal. Building a family from such broken pieces would require more than love and good intentions. At the hospital, Dr. Chen's examination revealed that Tommy's seizure was related to a shunt malfunction, serious but treatable with surgery. As Marcus held his son's hand in the pediatric ICU, Luna climbed into the chair beside him. "Families stick together in hospitals too," she said matter-of-factly. "Jake and Danny are staying with Sarah, but I needed to be here." Marcus looked at this remarkable child who'd appointed herself protector of everyone she loved. "Luna, You don't have to take care of everyone anymore. That's my job now." "I know," Luna replied. "But caring about people isn't a job, it's just love." As Tommy underwent successful surgery the next morning, Marcus understood that Luna had taught him something profound about family. It wasn't about blood relations or legal documents. It was about choosing to love each other through every crisis, every fear, every moment of uncertainty. The adoption hearing was postponed while Tommy recovered, but Marcus didn't mind. His family was already complete in every way that mattered. But there was still one more surprise waiting, one that would give Luna the security she'd been seeking her entire short life. The courtroom was smaller than Marcus had expected, furnished with warm wood paneling and family photos that made it feel less intimidating. Judge Patricia Morrison had a reputation for putting children's welfare first, and her gentle smile immediately put Luna at ease. "Luna Martinez," Judge Morrison said kindly, "I understand you'd like Mr. Wellington to become your legal father. Can you tell me why?" Luna stood straight in her best dress, her dark hair neatly braided. At 6 years old, she looked tiny in the witness chair, but her voice was clear and strong. "Because he saved us," Luna said simply. "When Jake and Danny were sick, he got the medicine. When I was scared, he made me feel safe. When Tommy needed help, I helped him, and Marcus said that made us family." "What about your brothers? How do they feel about living with Mr. Wellington?" Luna's face brightened. "Jake loves the big bathtub and the way Marcus reads bedtime stories with different voices for all the characters. Danny likes that we have food whenever we're hungry and nobody ever yells at us. And Tommy is our best friend. We take care of each other." Judge Morrison made notes, then looked at Marcus. "Mr. Wellington, you're taking on significant responsibility. 3 traumatized children, plus your son who has special medical needs. Are you prepared for the challenges ahead?" "Your Honor," Marcus replied, "6 months ago my house was quiet and empty. I worked 18-hour days because I had nothing else to live for. Now I wake up every morning to children's laughter. Luna taught my son that he doesn't have to let his disability define him. Jake and Danny have shown me that healing takes time but always happens with enough love and patience. And Luna..." Marcus looked at the brave little girl who'd changed his life. "Luna saved my son's life. But more than that, she saved mine. She's taught me what real courage looks like, protecting the people you love even when you're afraid. I can't imagine my life without these children." Judge Morrison smiled. "Luna, is there anything else you'd like to tell the court?" Luna thought carefully, then said, "I want my new last name to be Wellington, like Marcus and Tommy. But I want to keep Martinez as my middle name, so Jake and Danny remember Mama loved us even when she couldn't take care of us properly." "And what would you like to be called?" "Luna Martinez Wellington." She pronounced each name clearly. "Because all the parts of my story matter, even the sad parts." The judge's eyes were suspiciously bright as she signed the adoption papers. "By the power vested in me by the state, I hereby grant the petition for adoption. Marcus Wellington, meet your daughter, Luna Martinez Wellington, and your sons, Jake Martinez Wellington and Danny Martinez Wellington." The courtroom erupted in applause from the small group of witnesses, Dr. Chen, Detective Rodriguez, Sarah, and several of Marcus's staff members who'd become deeply attached to the children. But the biggest celebration came from Tommy, who'd been waiting in his wheelchair outside the courtroom. When the doors opened and Luna ran to him shouting, "We're really siblings now!" his delighted laughter filled the hallway. That evening, the Wellington family had their first official dinner together in the mansion's dining room. Marcus had commissioned a new family portrait to hang above the fireplace, 5 faces instead of the lonely single photo that had been there before. "Marcus," Luna said as she helped cut cake for everyone, "I have one more question." "What's that, sweetheart?" "When people ask how you got 4 kids, what are you going to tell them?" Marcus looked around the table at Tommy, carefully feeding himself despite his motor challenges, at Jake and Danny chattering excitedly about their new bedroom decorations, at Luna, whose eyes finally held the security she'd been seeking her whole life. "I'm going to tell them the truth," Marcus said, "that sometimes the most important things in life come to you in the most unexpected ways, and that family isn't about being perfect. It's about choosing to love each other through everything." Luna nodded solemnly, then grinned. "Plus, I saved Tommy from drowning, which makes me basically a superhero." "The best superhero I know," Marcus agreed, pulling all 4 children into a group hug. As the sun set over the Wellington estate, Marcus realized his journey had come full circle. He'd started as a lonely billionaire in an empty mansion. He was ending as a father of 4 in a home filled with laughter, challenges, love, and endless possibilities. Luna Martinez Wellington had indeed been his family's guardian angel. But as he tucked her into bed that night, reading one more chapter of their favorite book, Marcus understood that the real miracle wasn't that she'd saved them. The real miracle was that they'd saved each other. Outside Luna's window, the garden stretched toward a future bright with promise. Tomorrow would bring new adventures, new challenges, and new opportunities for this unconventional family to grow stronger together. But tonight, for the first time in her 6 years of life, Luna fell asleep knowing with absolute certainty that she was exactly where she belonged, safe, loved, and home forever. The end.